Hello students, today I will teach you the poem entitled The Sea and the Skylark, written by the great Victorian poet J.M. Hopkins. So the poet begins like this: On year and year, two noises too old to end. Too old to end, it means eternal. इटर्नल मतलब शाश्वत, जो कभी खत्म ना हो. Trench, ride the tide that ramps against the shore with a flood or a far low lull of or all roar, frequenting there while moon shall veer and bend. So this is the first four lines of this octave, and the rhyme scheme of these lines is A B B A. In these lines, poet is referring to two noises, two sounds in which he finds a kind of pleasure, the pleasure giving sounds. He on ear and ear, and ear and ear, here ear and ear refers to, this phrase refers to both the ears of the poet, that he is listening, he is hearing, he is enjoying two sounds or two noises from the both ears. On ear and ear, two noises too old to end. The poet says that he is enjoying those two eternal sounds, two noises which have been heard for so long a time that they may be regarded as everlasting. So these two immemorial noises, these two noises will continue forever, and poet is enjoying these two sounds, these two eternal sounds from both his from his two ears. And these two sounds are, the first is trench right, the tide that ramps against the shore. The tide, the wave, leher, that ramps against the shore. Ramps break against the shore. Shore matlab kinara, the shore of the sea, the seashore. He's talking about the seashore. With a flood or a fall, low lull of or all roar. So he says that from his right ear, from his right side, from his right hand, from his right ear, he is enjoying the sound of the sea waves, which are breaking against the seashore, continuously breaking against the sea shore with a flood or a fall. The shore is flooded when the wave strikes against it, and when the wave retreats, they leave the shore drenched but not flooded till the next wave comes. So with a flood or a fall, they are creating a kind of sound every time when they are breaking against the shore or when they are retreating, and the sound changes with those the both activities. When it comes and break against the shore, it creates a roaring sounds, but when they retreat again in the sea, when the waves retreat again in the sea, they create a very soft kind of sound. So low lull of or all roar. So these sounds may be of a roar or the lulla by the waves. Frequently there while moon shall veer and bend, and frequently these sea waves will continue to visit the shore. They are continuously, these sea waves are continuously visiting to the shore. It means the sea never stops, the waves never stops, they are continuously breaking against the sea. While moon shall veer and bend, as long as the as long as the waxing and the waning of the moon continue to occur. As we all know that this is a scientific or geographical fact that there is a connection between the sea waves and the moon, and the moon affects the sea waves. So the tide in the oceans are caused by the attraction which moon exercises upon them. So as long as the moon lasts in the sky, the tides will continue. So this phrase or this line suggests that these waves will be continue forever. These waves will make this roaring or lullaby sound every time when they strike against the shore, or when they retreat in the sea, because the attraction of moon will be there always. So this sound of sea waves will always be there for ages. So we can understand these four lines like this, that the poet G.M. Hopkins, he is saying that with his 2 ears he is listening the two sounds, and he says that from his right side he is enjoying, or he is listening the sound of the sea waves which are striking against the sea. मतलब कि वह समुद्र की लहरों की आवाज़ सुन रहा है जो बार बार आकर किनारे से टकराती हैं और फिर से समुद्र में चली जाती हैं, और ये जो प्रोसेस है वो लगातार होती रहती है, और वो जो साउंड है सी वेव्स की वो हमेशा आती रहती है। और फिर वो एक साइंटिफिकली बात करते हैं कि जो मून है, जब तक मून है उसका अट्रैक्शन है, मून जैसे जैसे बढ़ता या घटता है वैसे ही सी वेव्स या समुद्र की लहरों की तीव्रता भी कम और ज़्यादा होती रहती है, क्योंकि समुद्र की लहरों और चंद्रमा के बीच एक आकर्षण क्षमता होती है जिसके कारण ये क्रिया निरंतर चलती रहती है। सो ही सेज दैट दीज साउंड्स आर ऑलवेज, दिस sound of sea waves will remain there forever. Left hand off land, I hear the lark ascend. Left hand means from the left ear. Off land, above the land, above the earth. Here he refers to the skylark leaving the earth and flying up into the air. I hear the lark ascend. He is hearing the sound of a skylark or the song of a skylark that is ascending in the sea. Ascending means flying upward into the sky. Ascend means आकाश में ऊपर की ओर उड़ना. Lark is a name of a bird. So the poet says that from his left ear he is hearing the sound of a skylark, the music or the song of a skylark that is flying upward into the sky. His rash, fresh, rewinded, new-skinned score. Score means song. The song of the skylark is like musical score, which is compared to a new skin of wool. New skinned score in crisps of curd of wild winch whirl and pour and plat music till none to spill nor spend. So in these two lines the poet has made a great use of alliteration, because there is a constant repetition of the sounds like rash, crisps of curl, wild winch whirl, spill nor spend. These words or these phrases is an example. These all are example of alliteration, because there is constant repetition of the same consonant sounds in these lines. So the poet says that he is listening the sound or the music or the song of a skylark, his fresh, rewinded, new-skinned score. The song of the skylark is renewed and it is very refreshing for the poet. The poet says by a new skinned score he means that the skylark is skylark's song is like a skein of wool which is unwound as he climbs to the sky to sing and rewound after he returns to the earth having finished his song. So it is just as if the song is flowing down on the earth from the sky. उस स्काई लार्क के गाने की आवाज़ जब वो नीचे से उड़ती हुई ऊपर की ओर जाती है तो वह इस तरीके से आती है जैसे कि कोई ऊन के धागे को हम लपेटते हैं गोले के, इस तरह का से बिल्कुल वो उतरते हुए नीचे की ओर आती है। और जब वो स्काई लार्क नीचे उतरती है तो ऐसा लगता है जैसे अपने गाने को ख़त्म करती हुई आ रही है, उस ऊन के गोले को समेटती हुई नीचे की ओर आ रही है। सो in crypts of curl of wild winch whirl and pour and plat music. So he says that there are the skylark seems to wield his musical score off the winch of his throat, not in smooth and even flow, but as it were in crisp curl of melody. Every note of melody is compared to a lock of fleece waving in the air. तो ऐसा लगता है कि in crisps of curl of wild wind whirl. So the song is compared with a lock of fleece waving in the air. मतलब कि स्काई लार्क का जो गाना है वह बिल्कुल सीधी सरल आवाज़ में नहीं है, जैसे बालों में छल्ले पड़े हुए होते हैं, घुंघराले बाल होते हैं, इसी तरह से ऐसे लगता है कि वो छल्लों के समान मोड़ लिए हुए निकलता है। तो वो जो मुड़े हुए भेड़ के बाल जिनसे ऊन बनाई जाती है उस तरह की, मतलब वो कर्ल्ड है सॉन्ग। सॉन्ग इज़ नॉट एज सिंपल, इट इज़ curly and wavy. The poet is continuing to the poet wants to say that his musical scores that comes through the throat of a skylark, every note of the melody is like a lock of fleece waving in the air. He is continuing the metaphor implied by new skinned. Winch is again Old English used to indicate a hoisting machine in which a drum or a barrel is turned by a crank. Word also indicates the rotations. So and plat music till none to spill nor spend. The skylark pours his music. He produces his melody. It produces its melody without any effort. So he just want to say that the song of the skylark is a natural song. It comes out naturally from its throat. This bird is not making any effort to make its song beautiful or sonorous. It's always like this. So the skylark pours its music and the melody. It produces melody without any effort, and skylark also pelts its music in the sense of making a great effort to produce it without a pause as long as he is in the air. So the poet just want to say that the song of the skylark, pour and plat music till none's to spill nor spend. He just want to convey the idea that the song of a skylark is as natural as everything in nature. It comes out naturally and it's always sweet and sonorous and melodious, and skylark has not to make any effort to produce it, and the bird sings the song continuously as long it remains in the air, as long he flies high in the sky. So the poet suggests दैट कि स्काईलार्क का जो सॉन्ग है वो नेचुरल है, उसको कोई एफर्ट्स नहीं करने पड़ते, प्रयास नहीं करने पड़ते अपने गाने को सुरीला या अच्छा बनाने के लिए या सुनने योग्य बनाने के लिए। वो अपने आप ही ऐसा है, वो हमेशा से इतना ही स्वीट और सोनोरस था जितना कि आज है। और वो जब तक आसमान में रहता है, बर्ड द स्काईलार्क, he sings, it sings continuously, it never make a pause, it never stops, it doesn't make pauses in his in between its song. Now he, throughout the octave part, he talks about the sonorous music, the sonorous sounds of the sea waves and the skylark, and he is very much impressed by these two natural sounds because it gives a kind of soothing effect on the heart of the poet. So there he talks about the two sounds, and he has used complicated metaphors and a lot of alliterations are there in this octave part, and he has used some new words just like ear and ear, and in sestet part he will discuss, or he will he makes a shift, he will make a shift in sestet part, and he feels he feels sad for the town life and the people of the town. He laments the fact that the man who is the pride of creation has lost its joy and jest that belongs to the morning of human race. So we will discuss this sestet part in the next video. So continue watching my next video.